Hey. So we are here with our wonderful Wencheur, your go-to lender, and he is here to answer some questions today with us and just really figure out what direction that you're going when you're purchasing a home. So our topic for today and what we're going to be discussing is can you afford a home? So that's mainly the question that we get asked a lot is that can I afford the home when I'm ready? And a lot of people think that they have the income necessary. They have, you know what? I'm just going to get into it. Let's get into it.
Yes, yes, definitely. Hello, Christina. Thank you for having me with you today, and it's always a pleasure, to chat with you.
Yes, yes.
The
Thank you
relationship
for
is
being
different
on.
because, yes, I'm not just the lender, the loan officer, and you the realtor. So we are actually friend who's doing business as well together. So this is awesome. I'm glad to be here. We're going to chat about if anyone can afford a home.
Yes, and that is so important. I mean, that is the key point is that making sure that you're working with a lender who has developed those friendships, who have developed those partnerships with lenders and with partners so that your transaction goes smoothly. And that's something that one less thing that you have to worry about because
Yes.
buying a home can be very, very stressful. And one of the main things when you're trying to figure out which home to choose before you even decide what neighborhood you want to go into or what home that you like or what you love in a kitchen. You want to definitely start thinking about if you can afford it, where your budget is, and what houses you can afford within that budget. Because one of the things that I always tell my buyers is that you don't want to fall in love with something and then find out that you cannot afford it.
Yes.
Um, and that is probably the biggest thing um, that, I mean, people's hearts sink into their stomach when
hmm
they realize that the home or the price point that they thought that they wanted to be in or the home that they thought that was perfect for them they can't afford. So I like to have these conversations first,
hmm
and one of the things that I always I talk about is making sure that you are preparing yourself to be fundable. And let's talk a little bit about Wencheur. What does that look like to be fundable as
Yes.
a buyer?
Yes. Thank you. Great question, Christina. First, I'm going to say that this situation we encounter it like all the time. Someone falling in love with a house, they really want it, but they cannot afford it. So that means it's this issue. It happens more often than we can imagine. We would say, oh, well, people would never try to buy a house that they cannot afford, right? It sounds like common sense, right? I can tell you many buyers are on the market looking for homes that they literally cannot afford. So when it comes to being fundable, we have something that is important in the industry. Every buyer needs to understand is what we call the pre-approval letter. Listen, that's the fancy concept of it, say a pre-approval letter and pre-approved. The economic way or the financing way that we can call it is your purchasing power.
Uh,
So to be fundable means that first you have a profile that can allow you to have me as your loan officer tell you this is your purchasing power. And I'm going to explain. When you're going to buy a house, a borrower, the house purchase process doesn't start when you reach out to me or you reach out to your realtor. No, that's not when it happens. It happens when you have the first thought. that, man, I would love to own a home. Then the preparation start there. Now you need to start thinking about your debt. Start thinking about this new credit card that you're going to apply for. Start thinking about this new car that you're going to apply for, and also all the type of financial responsibility that you're going to take for family members, friends, maybe signing on a loan, signing on to purchase a car. Yes, it's not your car, but you're signing for your cousin. All those things you need to think about. So now when you think about them in advance, you can say you are thinking about buying a house. There will come the moment when you call your realtor now. Hey, I would like to buy a house. Like everybody does that, right? And then your realtor will say, okay, great. Do you have your purchasing power?
I like
Now,
that. I
yeah,
like that. And I'm going to stop you there because your purchase power, how powerful is that? Like, how amazing is it to be able to walk to your realtor and say, you know what, I'm already pre-qualified. I already have a pre-approval. And
exactly.
that leads me to my next question to you, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. And
Mhm.
so I want you to kind of break it down for us. What is that? What's the pre-approval versus the pre-qualification? Because most people, they think it's just the same thing.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. The thing is, like, there are many actors in the industry. I think they purposely make people confused because they try to use a pre-qualification techniques as a pre-approval techniques just to get the person. The same way they use soft soft credit pull as a hard pull just to get the person. So there's a lot of people, they think that, oh, I have a soft pull, then I can buy a home. It doesn't happen anywhere. So
Right.
what is the pre-qualification? The pre-qualification is just the first conversation that you have with me. And I have to tell you that, Christina, you are also pre-qualifying people. So me as a lender, I'm not the only person pre-qualifying people, like the borrower. You're also pre-qualifying because the first conversation that you have with that person, even if I simply want to know if you are not, let's say, quote unquote crazy, that's a pre-qualification. I just wanted to know if you are in sound mind to buy a house.
Right.
Maybe you're dreaming about it, right? This is a pre-qualification. Now we do it a way where, okay, I go into your finance because I'm a lender. But a simple conversation is a pre-qualification. Will that allow you to get into your home? No. That's why I need to pre-approve you. What is pre-approving? Pre-approving is making you powerful.
Right.
It's giving you the purchasing power, which is the
Yeah,
pre-approval letter. So once you
yeah.
have the purchasing power, now you know how much you can afford. And this is also the document that will allow you to work with the realtor. So this is the moment where I'm like, okay, your realtor will say, you serious? The seller, if you're buying, will say, oh, you're serious. And also myself, if I give you a pre-approval letter, I know, yes, you are more likely ready to pull the trigger in 12 days because I close loan in 12 days.
Which I love, because as a realtor, it is one of those things that we, especially for a cash deal, um a lot of sellers like for people to be able to close quickly, and you
Yeah.
have so much more leverage when you can say, hey, I have funding, here's my pre-approval letter, here's my proof of funds, here's my information, so that I can walk into this deal confidently and I can make an offer and know out of the gate it's going to get approved. And that's one of the things, is that, like, sometimes it's a multiple offer situation, but if you come in and you say I can close in 14 days,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
or I can close in 10 days, or you have a strong realtor and lender team working behind you to make sure that you're successful and that you get the house that you want, that's the dream team. you know,
Yes,
and so
exactly.
when you're talking about pre-approval, or pre-qualification is just saying, they look like they're probably lendable, right? The
Exactly.
pre-approval is
Keywords.
going to be a level of confidence that you can walk in and you can say, I'm pre-approved and I know I can make offers confidently. And with
Yeah,
the right team, I can close quickly. And that is what wins deals.
exactly. And I love how you put the keywords, lendable, fundable. Those are like keywords that, pretty much summarize a whole sentence or two sentences that we say. What I love to give a non-conventional approach to businesses. And I do it pretty much like in everything that I'm doing, but business is one of the major part of my life. So when someone called me for the first time, this borrower wants to purchase a house. They need funding for it. Let me tell you, they're also qualifying me. This is for them a pre-qualification. If they can see it that way, they will never be confused about pre-qualification and pre-approval. When I'm talking to that person, maybe I just want to be their friend and knowing that they're going to buy a house like in 6 months. That is pre-qualification. Pre-qualification. I mean, qualifying you to see if you can afford a home. To get to our subject, can you afford a home? And once you get that pre-approval letter, now this is the second layer, the highest level of pre-qualification, which is giving you the purchasing power. I really like what you say, and I like your keywords. We'll definitely keep moving forward that way. Use your keywords to summarize my sentences.
Glad I could help. Glad I could help.
Yeah. I love that. I love
So
that.
I want to dig a little deeper because I want to help people understand. I explain this on a day-to-day basis with my buyers, and I explain to them that this comes in stages, right? You said it starts before you even get pre-qualified or pre-approved. And that is so important because most people don't understand or that the importance of the fact that you don't want to go out and make major purchases. You don't want to buy a car. You don't want to do anything that's going to negatively impact your credit or your debt to income. So when you hear the word DTI, a lot of people, they're like, what's that? Because there's so much industry lingo that people don't really understand. And the DTI that people or lenders speak of is your debt to income. And so
Yeah.
if you're out there, you're just living your best life. You're out there buying cars, you're out here, buying furniture on credit. You're opening credit cards left and right. You're taking trips on your credit cards. And,
Mhm.
that's all well and great when you're trying to earn points, but it's not so great when you're trying to buy a house. And
Yes.
so you really want to make sure that you're not making these big, giant purchases before you go into that process, because there's nothing worse than being told your debt to income doesn't meet the threshold. It's a little too
Yes.
high.
Yes. Yes.
So let's dig a little deeper and talk about like the things that play into a pre-approval. I know that we look at your income and we look at your debt DTI, which is your debt to income.
Mhm, mhm.
So we look at your income and your debt. So talk a little bit about income and income. What kind of income would someone be looking at if they were looking to purchase a house in today's market?
Great question, Christina. And I am going to put it very simple. Your amount of income does not really matter, but your amount of debt really matters. Someone might be making 20,000 a month. They just throw it out there like this. If they have 15,000 in debt, when you take the ratio, the debt to income, that would be like 75%. That person, more likely you won't be able to get a home. 75% DTI. An example, right? But let's say that another person making 5,000 a month and they have 1,000 in debt. This is 20% DTI, the amount of debt comparing to the income. Debt to income ratio, right? So with a 20% DTI and a 75% DTI, even if the income is high, which one I would prefer working with as a lender? The 20% DTI. This person as will be more likely to pay their mortgage. Okay. So I want everybody to remove in their head the concept of I need to have a very high income to afford a home, to buy a home. It's not true. It's how financially responsible you are with the income that you're getting. Okay. So now what does get into a pre-approval? We a pre-approval letter, let's say if we're saying it that way, it's a lot, but there are three key factors. It's your debt, your income, and your FICO. Okay. Now, if you have more assets, it's good. If your credit score is better, that can allow you to have a better rate. If your debt is not too much comparing to your income, you're in a good spot. This is what I want everybody to understand. And also, in a pre-approval letter, there's one key thing that is very psychological that people don't think. It's self-disqualification. Many people don't get to the pre-approval letter not because their income is bad, not because their debt is too high, not because their FICO score is too low. It's because they are self-disqualifying themselves. They think that they're the lender. They think they're the realtor. You know, how many times people call me, "Hey, Wencheur, I wanna buy a house." So they or my credit score is 700. My income is 5,000. My DTI, I think it's like in the 50%. They give me all the number. I'm like, wait. Did you pull your credit? Did you do the math? You didn't do the
Right.
math, right? How do you know your DTI when you didn't even pull your credit?
Right.
Because there are many situations where people are like, oh, I owe only $3,000. Yes, you owe only $3,000. Why, when I pull your credit, I find this collection or this balance that it looks like you completely forgot about it. So it's income, your debt comparing to the income, which is the DTI. It's your FICO, but I would say most importantly, is your mindset. Stop disqualifying yourself. Reach out to your realtor. Reach out to your lender if you want to buy a house. Okay.
Yes, that's huge because, and a lot of the times that, you know, your lender as a buyer, your lender, your realtor, they're great resources for you and they don't cost you a dime. So where else are you going to go and be able to get the level of expertise and the resources that we provide to you at no cost? And
Yes.
that is what we're offering you. We're offering to do these things for you. You don't have to do it on your own. It's wonderful when we get people who are knowledgeable about the process and that know what they need to bring to the table, whether it's, W-2s or income statements and things of that sort. That's absolutely wonderful that you're prepared, and we love that.
Yes.
But definitely allow us the opportunity to look into your information and give you the information that with the level of expertise that we have. Because
Exactly.
don't disqualify yourself. You would be surprised how many people think that they won't get qualified for something or think that they can only afford a certain amount, and then they go through the process and realize they're approved for a lot more, or that they actually can buy a house or get the dream home that they want because they may have low income, but like Wencheur said, you have low debt as well. And so you may qualify on a different level than somebody who actually has higher income but a ton of debt.
A ton of that, exactly. So that's the thing, and not because you're doing that job. Let's say you're working at a fast food restaurant, for example, which we know that sometimes those fast food, they don't pay enough, to say, oh, you cannot afford a home. You might be working at that fast food restaurant and literally afford a home in one of the very nice neighborhood in town, if you're financially responsible. And I have story, I have information like that. Let me tell you, Christina, when you mention about allowing us to help, I just came from a VA loan training. I've done VA loan before, and I'm like, oh yeah, so I did my best, great job, great service. I spent 2 days, 9 to 5, learning only about VA loan. After the training, I came up with one conclusion. The same way someone need a CPA, you need an accountant, you need a lawyer to live, because you never know when someone will sue you for your business, when to do your taxes and stuff like that. You need, if you are serious about building wealth in America, you need a realtor and you need a loan officer in your corner. And if you are a veteran, you definitely need a loan officer who understands VA loan. If you see a veteran walking, not being wealthy, it's a choice. I'll say it again. If you see a veteran walking, not being wealthy, it's a choice. Again, because they think they cannot afford a home. They think it's not possible for them. They self-disqualify when they have the most powerful tool that you can ever imagine as a loan product on the market, Christina. It's a VA loan. It's a machine of wealth creation. Okay,
Really?
so yes, it is. One day we will do a live on VA loan where I'm going to be explaining
It's
everything
so
how a
necessary.
to just be wealthy. So yes, please, guys, if you are living in America, as much as you need an accountant, as much as you need a lawyer, you need a realtor, you need a lender. And not someone like when you're just going to buy a house, you need someone to build a relationship. And not just one, because you might have a realtor who's very good at FHA loan. This is what they've been working most of the time, or they're very good at refinancing and relocating. So if you are going to tap into something new, like let's say new construction, sometimes it might be good to branch out and see where you can find other resources. And if you have a realtor like Christina, I know like Christina, like she's like literally the jack of all trades. I've seen how you talk, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like so much. Then they can reach out to you and make sure that you guys have your lender as well, someone who understands what you want to do, because originating loans or getting to that pre-approval letter and making you understand and feel that you can afford a home is not about processing file. It's about having a 360 degrees of your story, where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go in life, and forming the structure of financing that relate and resonate to that dream that you have, so it can work for you instead of like against you.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it's so crazy because I mean, y'all know how passionate I am about helping my clients, okay?
Mhm.
When and I met, I was like, I could not believe that there was someone out there that was equally as passionate, okay?
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that I love about working with Wencheur is that he is so honest and he is so passionate about making sure he finds a solution. And that is the thing. A lot of people will give up. A lot of realtors, a lot of lenders, they'll be like, oh, well, you're just not, nope, you've just got to come back to us in 6 months when you get this together, when you get
Yes.
that together. And to his point, there's so many products out there, guys. There's so many resources out there. There
Mhm.
are different things out there that we may know about that you may not know about. And so it's so important to have people in your corner that have your best interest at heart and that make sure that they hold your hand and walk you through each step of the process. Because let's be honest, this process, it can be confusing, it can be frustrating, it can be
Yes, it is.
overwhelming. And
It is.
so it's not, I'm not telling y'all it's a cakewalk now. I'm not telling you that you're going to go walk in, sign some papers, and tomorrow you're a homeowner. It's not, it
Yes.
doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But it is
Uh-huh.
so rewarding and it's so worth it if you have the right people behind you on your team, making this process go smoothly so that you can be excited about it. Because
Yeah.
who wants to get to the closing table and you're so worn out because you've been through all of this stuff and you felt like you're in it on your alone and you're not getting the help that you need and your realtor's not answering the phone because trust me, there are plenty of people
Yeah.
working with that work with me because I answer the phone, guys, because I'm responsive, because I care. And
That's
one of
how
the
it
things
should
I
be.
love about working with Wencheur is that he cares. He answers the phone, he answers your questions, he answers, he's able to give you the information that you need and then also come up with solutions.
Yes.
Because a million people can come up with problems. You can come up with problems all the time on why it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But one of the things Winter said to me, and it's so funny because we talk all the time, and I'm sitting here and I was like, you know what? I've always thought about doing this. And he's like, you know what? You got to think about how you can make it happen, not think about it.
Yeah, I remember.
Right. You're absolutely correct. So it's one of those things that, like he said, don't disqualify yourself. Give yourself credit, give yourself grace, and have the right people in your corner to make sure that you're not walking through this alone.
Yes. Just like Chris and I, like, thank you for, sharing all that. But what I will tell you is about the passion. Every time, like, it's a downside that I use. Like, I kind of use it as a strength, but I guess, like, sometimes it hits like a weakness. And I'm going to be vulnerable here. Every time I share my link for a prospect to apply, I got like an anxiety, like I'm nervous, and also like I'm stressed. You know why? Because I think I share the dream with my client. You might see me even too excited. I'm so excited about this family. This people who's gonna get this house. I'm so excited, and I have a partner that I work with, and she left me a review, and she said, like, I can't believe that that's the first time I've seen that a lender visiting a property with a client. So this client, he wanted to invest. I also invest, so I have a pretty keen understanding of investment. And I know he didn't have all the understanding that he needed. Not that I let listen. I'm working with you. I'm going to support you as well, like in that journey. And then I remember that day we were all at a property looking at it. And for 1 hour, I was not the lender. I was the advisor. And then when I went back, grabbed my computer, working the file, then I'm the lender. So
Right?
it's all the passion.
Yeah.
And when I met you, Well, we clicked the first time we met, right? when I so I met you, like there were like around like 20 people, like 15 people, I guess, in the room that day. And then we just had a conversation. And next thing I told you, I'm like, damn, oh my goodness, your energy is so awesome, so light. I just want you around, like in my business, right? So, and I think this is the same thing that you share with your people. Like this is the same thing that you share with your client. The home buying process is very stressful. And it's not just stressful for the buyer or the borrower, it's also stressful for the realtor. It's also stressful for the lender. People sometimes they don't think that, I don't want when I submit a loan file and got 15 conditions to clear. You know how this hit when I have 15 conditions? So my goal is to make sure that I never have like more than 7 conditions. And I took the number 7 for a reason because I think it's spiritual too. So every
That's
time I
a
submit a
number.
loan,
Lucky
yes,
number 7.
yes, I make sure that I structure the financing and making sure that I have a 360 view of it way before I submit it to underwriting, so I can have up to 7 conditions or less. And it happened. With less conditions, we can close faster. With more conditions, more document to re-upload, more conversation to have, more back and forth between realtor, lender, and the borrower, then more time it takes to close. So those are like little thing that ChatGPT will not tell you.
Right.
Yes, I approach my business. I do not answer questions really about what you can just go on ChatGPT and get an answer. I gave you the answer that when you go to ChatGPT, ChatGPT doesn't know it because he doesn't know you. He doesn't know your story. And in the same way, Kristen, I like the way that you feel that when you ask me a question when we're talking, it's the same thing. I know, like, you're very smart. You're a very smart realtor, Kristen. You know your game. Okay. So I'm sure that you will go to ChatGPT when you have a question, but reach out to me when you have this question that ChatGPT will not answer because it relates to the person. It has story in it. It has emotion in it. And then we can work together to make sure that the process can be as smooth as possible and with less stress as possible. You know, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, spot on because, you know, can you afford a home? It's such a loaded question. Like, there's so
Yo,
many directions that we can go with that question because, there's so many moving parts and so many pieces involved in making sure that you can afford a home. And I'm not going to sit here and act like he said, you can work at McDonald's or you can work in a corporate office. I mean, we don't care how you get your income. It's just asking yourself that question. Are you financially responsible? Do you
yes,
pay your bills? What does that mean, right? And I'm just going to break it down for you because I'm going to shoot it straight. So what does that mean? That means what is your credit score looking like? Because you know I know a lot of times people are like, oh well, I have cash and I don't need credit. um well,
yeah.
when
I'm
you're
going
buying
to
a
touch
home
this.
you need credit.
Yeah,
So it depends on what you're trying to do. I commend people for being debt free and not having any credit, and I think that's absolutely wonderful. If you can pay cash for your house, phenomenal. But most people do have to leverage some sort of financing in order to purchase a home because it's one of the biggest purchases that you will make. And
yes,
so can you afford it? It's going to depend on a couple of things. Your credit score, meaning how financially responsible are you? Because your credit score determines, it shows how much you owe. It shows how you've paid those people that you owe. It shows All of the things and the ways that you've leveraged yourself, as far as how many things that you've signed up for in your
Hmm.
name. Um, and how off do you pay on time? It shows a number of things. So lenders, they don't know you, so they have to go by the information that's on that report.
Yes.
And while that's not the sole deciding factor, it definitely plays a part. The second part is going to be, I know Winter said your income doesn't matter, but it does matter to an extent. To an extent, right? You can't walk
Yeah.
in here and you make $200 a month talking about you want a house. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out there because they
Well,
have like, which is that I don't, it doesn't matter how much I make. No, it definitely matters to an extent, right?
yes.
What he's
Yes.
saying is your income is
Is not.
not the deciding factor either, right? It's a number of things. It's an algorithm, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's one of those things that plays a factor because you have to have enough income to be able to support your payment. They got to know that you're going to be able to make the
Yes.
payment for this house that you want. You can't walk in the door with $200 a month talking about I want a $500,000 house. So it's just realistically speaking, because again, I'm going to shoot you straight. You have to have a good portion of income, and then the other thing that plays a factor is your debt to income.
Mm-hmm.
Can you afford it? Is your debt to income in line? And honestly, those two things, how you pay people and what you make, factor into your debt to income. So your income minus your expenses is going to give you your debt to income ratio.
Yes.
And your income has to be high enough. If you make $5,000 a month, but you spend 4,500, then we looking like
You're not working to be to afford a home.
exactly. Exactly. You're working to pay for your lifestyle, and I call that lifestyle creep. Right? When you make
That's
the
right.
money, but your lifestyle creep up with it, and so you're not
Mm,
really making
mm,
enough
that's a very
to
nice.
to have other to be able to afford a payment, because you can't afford the payment on a $500,000 house with $500 extra every month.
No,
So
no, it won't. It won't work. It won't work. It won't
that's
work.
right. That's right. So you'd have to consider these things and think about these things. But if you're in question and you have questions, reach out to us, because that's what we're here for. We're here to answer those questions for you, to support you, and also come up with a strategy and a plan on how to move forward. You may be in a position where you're making $10,000 a month, but you're spending 9,000, right?
Well,
But we
this
can
is the
help
worst.
you, right?
You're
But we
gonna
can
be
help
living
you.
on debt and on credit card and hard money loan, everything that out
Right.
there that is not
Not
gonna work for
everything. You leverage out it all. So that's the thing. It's like you can still qualify, but we will set up a game plan, right? You may not be able to buy a home tomorrow, but if we get on a plan, we can come up with a strategy, and we can sit down and we can say, okay, well, and if your goal is to buy a home in the next 12 months, this is what we need to do. This is what you need to put in place. These are the things that you don't need to buy, i.e., car and furniture. So, so these are things that we can advise as professionals to
Mhm.
you that make it so that you can reach your goals. We're never going to say, "Oh, no, not you, not possible for you. It's not, nope, it's not something you can do. Somebody else can buy a house, but you're not the one." So
Yes, yes. I,
we'll never tell you that, because we know that there's always that possibility, as long as you're willing to listen, as long as you're willing to work with us, as long as you're willing to do the steps when we
Mhm.
strategize a plan, to go through the steps and follow them consistently to make sure that you can reach your goal.
Yes, I think this part that you just talk about, Christina, if like when we cut the video and we share it with someone, like if you have any um, buyer, if they listen to it, they're supposed to be thinking differently and kind of like making decision to get ready. You were spot on. You just delivered so much nuggets here. It's awesome, you know. So what I would say is, you mentioned like about the money, the cash. Yes, having cash is good. People, you know, cash is king. They always say that. You know, you can see the money, you can feel it, you can smell it. I guess maybe that helps to see that you have money.
Mhm.
However, as a lender, every time you have cash, if you're going to use it for to afford a home, to buy a home, I'm going to ask you for the source of it, because I need to be able to verify. And now a simple letter is not enough. So I will need to know the source, the transaction, where did you get it? And I have to mention that when it comes to affording a home, there's a key element, which is gift. You can buy a house with a gift. There's a way that we structure it. What we need just a simple gift letter from the person who's giving you the gift. That's all. As long as they say they give you the money and you don't need to pay it back today, tomorrow, next year, in 10 years, we're good. So I've never seen anybody say pay it back like in 40 years, but I guess if you have your mortgage for 30 years and you say pay it back in 40 years, I think I might accept it because it's longer than the mortgage term, you know. I've never seen that just. So yeah, the cash can be used, but you'll need to be able to prove the source. And we all know the reason why we want to know the source. And you can use gift as well to afford a home. Okay. So now for your credit score, it's going to be always matter. But you can always have cash and you still have credit score. It's because you don't need a lot of money to build a credit score. A simple credit card can build your credit score. Yes, there's the debt mix, like which is one of the factor like in your credit score. That means how different type of debt that you have, right? So that is going to be low if you just have a credit card. So you can responsibly and strategically add a new debt, you know, to make sure that you play with the five key elements that we have in a credit score. And we have to say as well, if you are using Credit Karma and you see your credit score is 700, do not come to me as your lender and say, oh, my credit score is 700. No, that can give you an idea, but it can be more, it can be less because I will be using the FICO. Credit Karma doesn't give you the FICO score. Okay. So yes, a lot of time people come, oh, my credit is 700. And when I pull it, it's 600. They're like, oh, I told you my credit is 700. I'm like, no, Credit Karma doesn't give you a FICO score. It gives you an idea, but you know. And a lot of time when they come to you, they tell you their credit score. They know how they're how they handling their money. They know, but they're not telling you the exact um, picture until you, the lender, you go in for, right? So yes, you just put some key information there, Chris, and I just wanted to add those three aspect of it, which is the FICO score, the gift, and the cash. If you use it, you fine. So now there's another thing. It's the down payment. This is something that is very important. I want people to understand in affording a home. Sometimes, if you have money to put more down, put it. It's going to help you in many ways. But if you do not have that money to put as a down payment, we can always work with you. So Christina, you know we talk about that many times already. I think we had a few people we reach out about down payment assistance, right?
Mhm.
We had a few people, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
so
but there's definitely people that they they have all of the other pieces in place, puzzle pieces as I like to call them. But then
yes,
they don't have the money for the down payment, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't have down payment money. But there's so many resources out there. There are city resources, there are county resources, there are government resources, there are private resources that
Yes.
we have at our fingertips that can help you through that process. Now, digging deeper into that, um, you have to keep in mind that um, it may come at a higher interest rate, or it may come at a higher payment. So definitely keep that in mind when you're thinking down payment assistance. But
Yeah.
absolutely, those programs are out there. And then a lot of people will have the money in the account for a down payment, but we may be able to negotiate on the back end on with seller concessions. If you're doing a
Great.
new build, I mean,
Mhm.
there are builder concessions that they incentives that they offer to be able to offset some of those costs.
Mhm.
And if you're buying a home that a different home that's a resale or refurbished home, we always like to look into maybe some other programs that may offer, like VA, for example, um, they offer zero down payment. You know, USDA, depending on where the home is, can offer
Yes.
zero down payment.
Yes. Yes.
But then you have FHA, who is 3.5%. And then when you think about the amount of equity that you can build, or the amount of the large asset that you will have control over for 3.5%,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
insane.
I just had a client, and this client owns a home, like, which is almost 400,000 for
Mhm.
less than 20,000 with a V alone.
Mm.
So when you come with less than 20,000, I guess less than 17,000, less than that, and you
Yep.
control an asset that is like 400, almost $400,000. This is
Right.
wealth creation in its finest definition that we
Yes.
can,
Yes.
and there's a way also VLN can be used personal, which is awesome when it comes to down payment and all the benefits. Is we have a one-time new construction VLN.
Mhm.
The beauty of it is because you can use that one-time new construction VLN to build a fourplexes. So I haven't had any veteran who wants to do it, but I'm going to be educating more people about it. Get a VLN. Let's say
Mhm.
after service. Yes, I know you're getting that 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 from the government. You might feel comfortable with it, but it's
Right.
from the government. Remember that. So go get a zero down payment, one time closing construction. You buy the land, you build a fourplex on it. And also, you might be someone who's exempt from funding fee. If you're not exempt from funding fee when you're doing a V loan, you need to have a funding fee. So the funding fee sometimes it's like 2% of the loan amount. So if you exempt, you do not pay that. You don't pay down payment. You don't pay the funding fee. You don't pay premium insurance upfront. You buy a land. You build a fourplex. You live in part of it. You rent three part. After 1 year, you satisfy the VA occupancy requirement. You leave this house. Now you have a fourplex in less than 2 years that is giving you money every month. Zero down payment.
Listen, he's dropping all the nuggets. He's sharing all the tea, y'all. Did you hear what he just said? You buy a
Two
piece
years.
of property and put 4 units on it, live in one of them, and you're making money. You're basically getting paid. You're
To
basically
get a
getting
loan. He's
paid
paid to get a
to
loan.
own
Okay.
property. There's so many ways that you can leverage, and especially with, like you said, VA, USDA, there are so many ways that you can leverage real estate. And like I said, with a great realtor and a great lender in your back pocket, I mean, you could change your future, the trajectory of your future, and your future's future, your
Yes,
kid's
yes,
future.
yes, yes.
So
I would say, Christina, any veteran that I meet, if they give me 5 to 10 years, I can make them wealthy. They just need to keep working. It's like the government wants them to be wealthy. Okay, so now you just need to have, you a good realtor who's going to source those deals. I know you mentioned about land that you have, right? If we're doing a one-time new construction, the first thing you need the land. I'm not going to get the lead, right? So you need Christina guys to say, hey, Christina, I want to buy a fourplex. I want to build a fourplex. Where can I get it? So that's your expertise. They need to always make sure that they have a realtor and a lender. I don't know how much I can emphasize that. And I
mhm,
wish that people can understand. Veteran can understand that. A V alone can make them wealthy. After 2 years, Christina, you have a fourplex giving you money. Four people paying you rent every month from an asset that you acquire with zero down payment. And
right.
also remember to use a V loan, there's something that we call entitlement, right? So it's funny, like we started like, can you afford a home? We take people with low credit, low income, but now we've get into let's imagine that we're talking now about a veteran affording a home, okay? So there's the entitlement. The entitlement is something that when you use it, you cannot use it many times. The veteran affairs want the veteran to use their vehicle once. That was the goal. But there's always a loophole in America. Always a legal way to do something different. There's always that. So with a fourplex, you can restore your entitlement by refinancing that fourplex after 1 year, 2 years. Okay, when you refinance that into a non-VA loan, you got your full entitlement. Guess what? You still own that fourplex. You can do it again. You can do it again. So you can use your VA loan up to like 8 units of property while still maintaining it. Now you have in 5 years, you can have 8 people paying you rent. Listen, I'm not talking about asset that you're building, with investor. I invest alongside with other people. When the money come, you need to divide it. Everybody has their fair share. Sometimes it's just a little piece of money that comes to you. But I'm talking about you owning 8 unit of property with minimal, very minimal cost upfront, and you have 8 people paying you. So if those people giving you 2,000 a month, that's six. With 8 people, that's 16,000. Your mortgage cannot be 16,000 on 2 properties. That's gonna be like 5,000, maybe. So that's 10,000 you create in 5 years. Passive income, baby.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now it's not just a question of affording a home. Yes, when you afford the home, you afford it with a strategy. And the strategy, there's no better strategy than the other. That's my point. For someone, it's creating passive income. For another person, is doing short-term rental. But for another person, it can simply be making my family stable. It can
Right.
simply be having a huge backyard for the kids to play. It doesn't matter because buying a home has nothing to do with fancy math. It's emotion driven. It's that confidence, that pride that you have, that feeling of, yes, I can do it. Yes, I did it. That feeling of, you know, that pride when every time your wife look at you, every time your husband look at you, every time your partner look at you, that pride when every time a family member look at you, that you have that beautiful home, you know? So this is what it is. It's nothing like complicated. Guys, if you want to have that pride, that confidence, if you want to have that feeling of being successful, which actually is owning a home in America is a huge step. Huge step. in your success. So if you want to have that vibe, that feeling, you want to smell it, you want to feel it, reach out to Christina. I
Yes.
can tell you, if you reach out to her, she's gonna send you to me. So anyway, you can reach out to her.
Yes, yes. We'll definitely continue to follow us, continue to watch. We will definitely have more
Mhm.
of these sharing nuggets, talking about different topics. This is something that was much requested because there are a lot of people that ask these questions to us.
Mhm.
And they tell us a lot that, you know, you need to share this information. You need um, to make a YouTube channel and share this on TikTok so people can see it. And that is what we're trying to do, is definitely educate our community and make sure that everybody understands the process. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Yes.
Again, we're here to answer any questions that you may have. And we will definitely look at our channel because, you know, those videos will be popping up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and we will definitely answer a lot of the questions that you have in these videos. But we're trying to provide value. We're trying to drop gems. We're trying to make sure that everybody is educated in this process. And just a little bonus, we are both investors, so we do have that knowledge as well and that leg up when it comes to looking at things through a different lens.
Yes.
So we're always looking for solutions. If there's a problem, we have a
So
solution. So
yes, yes.
definitely call us anytime. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah. Thank you, Christina, for your time and guiding us with this first one. I'm sure there's going to be more, and we'll be collecting questions that everybody has, and one day we can just do a session where we just answering those questions. What I would say is, we encourage everybody to follow us, but more likely we might not be of value for someone if they're just looking for you know questions like step to buy a home, because we do not think this way. Okay, so we think about empowering our client to be that best version of themselves after they purchase the home. So thank you, Christina. It was a pleasure to be with you.